you, Father, for those who believe in your word. Let your love and mercy place a circle of protection around them so that their prayers can be heard and their feet be grounded. Let this message right now reach the intended ear, the intended heart. Let the words from you fall from my mouth to touch their ears, to quench their soul. It's time for them to heal that heart, y'all. My Father, you can do all things. It's time. It's time. Okay. Ba 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 da ba. Ba 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 da ba. Ba 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 da ba. Ba da ba. Whoa, not too good. What's up, y'all? How are you doing? It's your boy Gerald. It is the 4th of October 2014. It is the weekend. You've navigated through your week, and I hope that you have sidestepped the negativity. You're actually in a place where you're grounding your steps. You're starting to take more accountability in the awareness of your environment now. You're starting to see things that rightfully you should. And you know what? It's for your happiness. So don't you think you're worth it? You know what? Give me 1 second, because it is a little dim here. I'm gonna put a little light so you guys can see me. Okay? All right. I believe in me before you love. I'm in love. But I got my music channel on. That's what you hear in the background. You always hear music playing in the back. I've noticed through the years, I've always had a passion for music as a little boy, and I really believe that before this life is over with, Mama had my hand somewhere in there. So, but God is beautiful. He is wonderful and all-knowing, and whatever I have to do, He'll reveal it in His divine moment in time. But that's here nor there. I gotta do what I gotta do right now. That is to talk to you. So, how was your week? Was it peaceful? Was it harmonious? Or was it not so good? Are you dealing with something that you perplexed, and you may be having challenges going on and you don't understand why? Well, I'm here to tell you something right off the bat. What you're going through, you're not the first and won't be the last. The only difference is it is custom tailored for your life. So there's a responsibility that must come with that, because you have to make sound decisions. But we live in an age where far too many times we make concessions when we should show strength. And I'm not talking verbal strength, I'm not talking physical strength, I'm talking inner strength. That inner strength is your discernment. That is the navigation of the compass that will navigate your life to its intended path. But you can't do that until you are unadulteratedly honest with yourself. Yeah, you got to be real. You gotta be real with yourself, y'all. You can't run from yourself. It don't work. And it will not work. And it will continue to exist in your life until you decide to claim your life. See, I know somebody right now. It's approximately about 9:44 in the morning. Someone's probably rolling out of a bed that they did not claim, rolling over to look at someone they did not know, only to realize that a stolen moment has occurred. And now they are given the duty of what we call the walk of shame. Yes, we've all done that. We've all put ourselves in a vulnerable position where we have allowed others to benefit from our personal resources, which is our bodies, our minds, and our emotions, because there was something that was lacking. There was something that in them at that moment of time, which was probably 9 times out of 10 in an altered state, that you felt was right, but it contradicts where you feel right now. So, I'm going to put this video out for you. And I put this video out because you deserve to hear the truth. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to believe, what you need to hear, because the fact of the matter is, some of you are playing with your lives. That's right. Some of you are. Some of you have willfully made a decision, to embark in a lifestyle of no accountability. But here's the problem with that, y'all. The problem with that is, each time that you make this choice, it makes you feel worse. See, that's the residual side effect of making choices not in your best interest. See, you know how I always say, a burglar can't break in your place if you have it fortified? They can't take from you unless you leave something open or is exposed. Well, when it comes to your heart, when it comes to your self-worth, when it comes to your value, if you don't see the value of your life, which is priceless, I'm sorry to tell you, there's going to always be an opportunist in the midst, in the bushes, so to speak, waiting to prey upon you. So you got to make a decision. Do you want to have the life that you rightfully deserve, or do you want to continue down this path that is filled with pain? And here's the ironic part about it. Some of you have allowed your environment to convince you that you do not deserve to be respected, to be loved, to be treasured, and invested in. How crazy is that? Matter of fact, I'll do one better. If you're going through a situation right now, a challenge, and you're in a relationship right now, it will behoove you to do this. Sit down. Write down every pro about your partner. And sit down and write every con. You must be honest to do so. Now, at the conclusion of that, fold it up, put it away for a second. Okay? Because right now that your emotions are running right now, you know, your emotions are not balanced. So you can't have a logical state of mind if you're in the midst of emotional turmoil right now. You have to be honest with yourself. Now, you've already gotten your pros and cons list. You take that time and look at it from a different person's perspective. Right? Now, from that point of view, you look at what weighs heaviest. You take stock on that. Then after you've taken stock on that, you have to do the same for yourself. Honestly. You've done the same, right? Then, with your mate, look at the things that you're willing to work through. You're willing to invest in. Right? Now, ask yourself this. Would they do the same for you? And I'm going to tell you right now, your intuition, your discernment, your spirit has already answered that already. Some of you right now are saying, no, hell no. If it feels that way, it is, why are you there? Why are you there? Because this person at this moment doesn't have the capabilities to grow with you. You know, in the last video I did, top 10 signs they don't see you in their future. It's a correlation to this one too. So you gotta understand something, y'all. See, behind closed doors, when you're by yourself, some of you are terrified that if people saw who you really are, whatever foundations that were built would fall apart, because it's probably built off of a lie. But here's the thing. You're the one lying to yourself. You're the one that, for some reason, feel that that's what you've got to do to sustain. So, I thought about it. I know, like right now, and don't get me wrong, but I just want to point out something. So I was in a conversation with something very dear to me, and the big thing is Scandal, right? And I haven't watched the show. It's a TV show, and I know it's big and it's very entertaining. So I asked this person, I said, what's the big deal about this show? And as if you already know, and if you don't, this person works in the political realm, and her job, female character, is to fix things. When people run into conflict, she's the liaison to make it right. So when they told me that, I said, so basically, she lies. Her job is to lie, to deceive. So if her job is to lie and use deceptive tactics, then therefore she knows how to manipulate. And if you know how to manipulate, Your position is not from a position of truth, no matter what the intentions were. That's like making a peanut butter jelly sandwich with a dirty spoon. Even though the sandwich looks right, but what you use to make the sandwich, that sandwich is not edible. But some people think that they can just go around it. The question is why? The question is, why do you settle for that? This is why I convey this to you, my family. And let me stop right now. Let's go back. First and foremost, I want to thank you for allowing me into your life right now. This video may be intended for you. If this is the first time you've heard this or been to my channel, thank you. I hope that you like and subscribe and be a part of the family. It is divinely meant for you to see this video right now. So if it resonates on your heart, it is very important that you do not run from it. Embrace it, because who you are destined to be relies that you make sound decisions today. And the only way you can do that is have courage to love yourself. Now let's go back. So, you know, I wasn't hating, because like I said, I haven't seen the show. But I also know that's what it is. Show. It's an illusion. That's why the things that you see on TV, if you try to do it in real life, you won't get the same outcome, because it's an illusion. Just like 95% of the things you see on that TV. It's there to sway your mind, to sway your opinion. A person can't make no money unless they sway your opinion. Think about it. When you go to the store, it's not the store's job to get in your purse. It's their job to convince you to buy their product. They just got to have the right presentation. It's to sway your opinion. So, let's go there. Some of you right now are in what we call a friends with benefit connection. And the question should be asked, why? Why? Why are you settling for this? Do you not think that you are worth a commitment? I know someone right now saying, well, Joe, I don't want to be in a relationship. I just want to go and do my thing without any accountability. But don't you realize every time that you do it, you always have drama behind it? Do you not see the correlation? Every time you turn around and give your most precious resource, which is your time, your body, your emotions, you always end up the same result. The reason why you constantly are seeing the same things is because two reasons. Number one, you have a pre-existing emotional trigger that came from your past. Someone convinced you that you weren't lovable. You didn't deserve love. And they attacked your self-worth. And the sad thing about it was, you let it go down. I know somebody's being pissed off right now. I'm like, I didn't do nothing. All I wanted to do was love them. Well, you know what? I've come to learn that love is reciprocal. The same energy you put out should be received back. But it takes courage to do it. That's why I tell each and every one of you, you need to speak your truth. But you speak it from a place of purity, not from a place of aggression. Haven't you noticed every time when you try to express yourself civilly, there is some communication, sender, receiver, done, but the moment that you use some type of aggression behind it, they automatically turn you off. And sometimes they actually act like, talk about synchronicity, delirious. They look at you like you're talking in a foreign language. There's the reason for that. Because you're actually seeing what is real. But you gotta have courage. You gotta be courageous to stand on your own feet. Now you do understand that we're entering the holiday season. So this is the time where people tend to up from the dead. People will try to prey upon you. Now, here's a funny thing about that. If you didn't have anything to offer, why would they waste their time? You ever thought about that? But if you don't see that, if you don't see it first, how can you protect what is already there? Which I keep trying to convey to you, my kings and queens. Fortify your boundaries. Fortify your worth. Fortify your self-esteem. The only way you can do that is when you have the courage to talk to him. He cannot and will not show you what you need, where you're going, until you give him what he requires. You know, it's funny, figuratively, because society has convinced you, my queens, that we're in such a state of emergency in our communities that you have to take it upon yourself to find love. You're not supposed to do that. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to keep telling you that. Because when you have one aspect, we'll say one person, put it this way, I got one person right here, right? And they have all their contributions on who they are, right? And then I have the other person, and they should also have the same. But if they're not going in the same directions, they can't come together. They'll always be divided. So without you knowing who you are, you will never be able to connect with that person. That person will never be able to be vulnerable with the opposite mate, because they're afraid that if they open their hearts, it will not be appreciated. And all that is emotional scar tissue. The question is, you need to ask yourself, what and who convinced you you're not lovable? You don't deserve love. And I'm going to tell you why that was the greatest lie ever told that you listened to. You know why that you deserve to be loved? It's because you exist. If God did not want you to be loved, He wouldn't have breathed the breath of life into you. You have a purpose on this planet. But if you don't have a relationship with your higher power, you will not only know where you're going, but you will not even understand what your life was about. And far too many times, people allow their pain and their pain, their anguish, to guide their lives. And that is nothing but emotional baggage. So I'm asking each and every one of you right now, when you gonna forgive yourself? Huh? I'm telling you, the moment that you decide to forgive yourself, I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one that I'm talking to your heart right now, right? Yeah. You can feel it in your throat right now because I'm talking truth. You have to make a decision that your life is worth living. But it is your responsibility to dictate who has earned the right to walk with you. Because life is about unconditional love, y'all. It is. Because the fact that one principle, God is love. He's unconditional love. That's why you exist. But if you do not value who you are, you will constantly be going through afflictions, going through pain after pain after pain, trauma after trauma after trauma. Some of you are so broken that you think that the lifestyle that you live by sleeping around with all these type of women, or my queens, you going out there sleeping with all these type of men, that if you get an STD, that ain't nothing but a little mosquito bite. You keep it moving. No, that's a wake-up call that your life ain't working. What do you think that is? Listen, that's also a telltale sign that that person does not value you enough to protect themselves. And what do? They disrespect you every time you open your legs. Some of y'all walking around right now that got a disease and don't even know, and you know where it came from, but you're so broken you don't even challenge it. You suck it up because the environment that you're in is more important to you than your own life. I'm here to tell you, y'all, you can't take that environment with you. I'm going to tell you why. Because where you are destined to be, that environment that you're in right now can't even hold a candle. Can't even hold the flame of this candle to where what is rightfully yours. But that won't be given to you until you start loving yourself. Some of you have actually convinced yourself that the only way that you can feel love is you got to sleep with anybody that's willing to give up their time. Nah. Your body is priceless. You will never find peace of mind in a stranger's bed. Because anything made with lust has destruction right behind it. That's why one night stands always have drama connected to it. Because we have free will, y'all. We've got free will to decide who and what we give our time, which is your precious resource. Because the time that you have right now, guess what? You can't get it back. I can't get back 30 minutes ago. I can't. So it's very important that I govern my time. So let's look at it a little more. Society doesn't want you to be in control of this. society doesn't want you to be in tune with this. And society definitely doesn't want you to acknowledge him. That's why there's so much stuff out there in the media. That's why every year they turn the bar up on stuff that, you know, rightfully, you know, it should not be on there. It ain't even past. Remember back in the day, for those that are in my 30s and 40s, remember when they would show certain TV shows, anything that was considered explicit was not even seen till after a certain time, 10, 11 o'clock. If it had some skin connected to it, you didn't see that until the wee hours. Now, 8 o'clock. Why? Because they're going after your young. They're going after your kids. Come on. We live in a carnal world. But let's do this. Because I already broke 31. I don't want to do that. I'm going to bring this back. This is to the queens that feel that have this. This is to my queens that think that I don't need a man. Okay. How's your life going thus far? How is it? If you spend more time being aggressive, if you spend more time up in here, if you spend more time taking a cunning or methodical approach, I'm going to tell you what's happening. You're actually taking on the characteristics of a man. If your behavior patterns are more of a man, what you are actually exhibiting are the pains, the traumas, the actions of what was wrong by you, and you're using that. You're turning around and doing that to other people. But I'm here to tell you this: every choice you make, you have to account for. Did you hear what I said? Everything you do comes full circle. Trust when I tell you this. I had to learn that myself. And it wasn't until I was humbled. You're looking at a man that was emotionally broken. If you don't believe me, here's what you do. You look back at my first video. When you get a chance, go back to my first video. I put it, I titled it, "When was the last time you said you loved yourself?" It was at that moment that I began my spiritual walk. And I'm going to tell you what, I was afraid. I was dazed and confused. And I did not love myself. I didn't. Because I had low self-esteem. And here's the kicker about that. I didn't realize I had low self-esteem until it came by way of a breakup. Yes. And it was with this person that and I can speak on this now. I believe that this woman was the one. I wanted to marry this woman. See, matter of fact, see right here? There you go. See right there? There she is. Yeah. Love that woman more than I love myself. But the kicker was, I didn't see my worth. Didn't. And I realized that God had something better for me. But before I could inherit the right for the one to come into my life, I had to be able to mirror the same attributes. No, don't get me wrong. I own each and every choice and decision I made. I can do that because I love some Gerald. And that's why my position is humble and will always be humble. But I also learned something in that experience. See, a lot of people like to use the word love all the time and don't know the true requirement to use that word. We always say, I love you, but don't know what is required to actually own that word. See, when you love someone, you love the person as the human being. You love this person even if you're not with them. And depending on how in tune and how deep that love was, how pure, authentic it is, you don't want nothing wrong. You don't want them to be in harm's way at all. But if you're constantly making sacrifices and concessions and it's not amicable, then that's not pure love. It's not. It's not. But I will say this because I don't want someone to misconstrue this at all. If you're going through a heartbreak, if you're going through a situation where you feel that you've given your all, and it's not balanced, it's not reciprocated, do what is best for you. Respect yourself. Love yourself. Invest in yourself. But take a position of compassion, empathy, and purpose. When you decide to do these things, you're going to lose some friendships. You are. Because you got to understand, do you realize that the environment that you're in is connected to what is found in your heart? So, if you have a carnal position where you think that, well, you know what, I'm going to sleep with her today, sleep with her Wednesday, and I'm going to sleep with Shorty I ain't got with in a couple weeks, and that's okay. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Number one, all those connections were soul ties, and they're going to have a price for each and every one of them. But if you stay on that path, this is to you, my kings, and I highly suggest that you listen to my queens. If you decide to use people as disposable means of release, what's going to happen is you're going to get old. That's going to get tiring. That's going to get old. And then one day you're going to say, I'm going to settle down. Right? And you're going to be committed. And what's going to happen is that person's going to do exactly the same things you have been doing. And you're going to learn what it feels like to be on the receiving end. We know that as karma, but that is also nothing but divine intervention. Because see, you got to understand something. God does not reward bad behavior. Now, queens, you know what I'm talking about. Because some of you have made a choice to detach love from sex. And you have a mindset of, I can't beat him, I'm going to join him, and whatever I can get out of the deal, fine. All it's going to cost me is my time, my body, and oh yeah, my health. And then when it runs its course, you are in a lesser state than you were. So let me ask you this. Is your self-respect worth that $300 bag that he bought you, but worth the pain that he gave you? Is those $1,000 shoes worth your respect, but you knew 24 hours before he was exploiting you in his car? Was him paying for the way you live worth for you to be his concubine? Is it worth your self-respect? And the reality of that is this. All these choices, none of these men will ever make you their wife. Why do you put yourself out there to be hurt? I'll tell you why. Because you don't love yourself. What separates you from the woman that makes the choice to solicitate her body? Now, first of all, that woman has already emotionally checked out. She's already given up on herself. So she's bought into the lie that was put out there 40 years ago. I'm going to use what I got to get what I need. Well, guess what? Is it worth the pain and the reality of knowing that what makes you doesn't function? Is it worth the health problems that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life? Is it worth it? Or are you worth being treasured? Are you worth being with someone that wants to truly grow with you? Or do you think it's acceptable for someone just to slide up in there, check you out, slide back on out, and lie to you as they go out the door? Where's your boundaries? Where's your worth? But worse, how can you look yourself in the mirror knowing that the night before you was pretty much their sex slave? You chose to leave your self-respect and self-worth in your car. You left it at the house. And the sad thing about it, you keep doing it every week. Sometimes with different people. Why? And here's the funny thing about it. Your environment is doing the same thing. You know why they're in your environment? Because they found somebody that is doing the same behavior patterns as them. So they have a place of feeling like they're accepted. Come on now. Those are the same people who end up by themselves, probably a slave to medication, and regretting and resenting that they squandered their lives because they chose not to love themselves first. Don't do that. Don't do that. Now, I know somebody saying, well, girl, I hear what you're saying, but every time I turn around and try to open myself up, I get the same thing plays out, just a different guy, but the same behavior shows up. Why? Because that's what's in your heart. You do the same thing. And y'all play physical chess. Who's going to check who? But you both go home sad. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. No, you're not. Life ain't no game. Not when it comes to your heart. Some of y'all walking around with band-aids and scar tissue, and you're so broken emotionally, but don't have the courage to change it. You know what you need. You know what you need. But you continue to go out there in the wilderness to be cut up, bit, stung, poison left to put that experience in that emotional backpack with all the rest of that baggage. That's why when you go to the club, you see all these women. My kings, haven't you noticed that? You see all these. If you go to the club, that's why I don't go. I go every blue moon. I go there a lot of times just to. It makes great case study work. It does. But you go to any social circle and you will see majority of the people there are women. Why? Because they want to be loved. Ladies, you know I'm telling the truth. And your girlfriend said, come on girl, let's go out, let's go to the club, let's go meet some men. You ain't going to meet a man that way. Because the man that you are intended to be won't be found in the club. He won't. Mr. Right, the one, will come into your life when you decide to change your life. You can never attract him with your vagina. No. The guys that you attract with your vagina are the ones that are just going to hit and keep moving. You can't sit down with these people and say, hey, what's your 5-year plan? What's your goals? They're going to hear that. All they're going to want to hear is pull your panties down. Shut up. Get on over here. You know I'm telling the truth. Some of y'all are so starving when it comes to be loved, but you won't love yourself. Why? Why won't you love yourself? Why do you accept bad behavior? Even to the point some of you have given up on men completely. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say it. You're so broken, you think that another woman is going to supply what you needed all along. But I'm going to tell you what. All you're going to do is find the same problems there than what you did there. But here's the ironic part of that. There's probably a guy in your life right now that you knew was a good guy. And you made a choice to deceive him. Right? You knew all along from the get-go that he wasn't going to be in your future. And you 9 times out of 10, you got him to the point where he confessed his love. He showed it with his actions. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter because you didn't understand what was being conveyed, because you don't love yourself. This also applies to you, my king, because you're not out of the woods. Because you've done a lot of dirt. And I'm here to tell you, my kings, by laying down, numerous women do not make you a man. Because you've got a good sex game does not make you a man. You become and earn the right to be called a man the moment you embrace your emotions and you fear your higher power. That's when the clarity comes. That's when the strength comes. That's when the peace comes. And that's when the harmony is revealed. You can't find that between her legs. You can't find that by telling a lie that you don't even remember that you told. And you got to turn around and remember, did I tell her that, or did I tell her that, or did I tell... And you confused even more because you don't even have the courage to be yourself. Some of you don't even have a clue. So how do you expect God to show you your purpose or give you favor when you constantly disrespect yourself first? If you're constantly disrespecting yourself, don't you think the things that you're doing is going to do the same thing back? If you constantly are being manipulative, you're going to attract manipulative people. If you are constantly not being compassionate, you're going to attract those that do not know what compassion is, that do not love themselves. That's why there's so many people walking around insecure. My queen, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to say this, and you can take it for what it's worth, but just know I love you. I do. And you're beautiful in your own right. You can't find peace that you deserve, that you desire in your heart. You can't find it in the beauty shop. You can't find it in retail therapy either. It doesn't matter how you change your hair, what contacts you put in, what you do to enhance your ass or uplift your breasts. Your most prized asset is your heart. Because the key to the beauty of a woman, her glow, is not found in an orgasm. It's found when she realizes she feels emotionally safe. I know I'm speaking to somebody. I know somebody needed to hear that. That's alright. Fan yourself, because I'm talking to you. God wants you to know that. Only people benefiting from that is the beauty shop. Is those retail guys to say yes. The more you degrade yourself, the more attention that you get. But don't you know every time you turn around and invest in that disrespect, that's all you get back? You only get a certain caliber of man. If you're tired of men going around, you out and about, and all they do is looking at your breasts, they're looking at your ass, and don't care what comes out your mouth, so you know they don't care about what's found in your mind. So what do you do in return? You try to put these fake boundaries up, this fake wall of non-emotion, and you say, well, you know what, if I act like they'll take me serious. Nobody's going to take you serious until you take yourself serious. You want the pain to go away? Have the courage to look at where the pain came from. Have the courage to talk about it. Because far too many times, and I'm going over my time, I'm going to wrap this up. Too many times we as people would like to put stigmas out there. And I'm going to put this out there, not for my benefit, but for somebody. Because I got a feeling right now, there's somebody dealing with sexual addiction. Yeah. You know, that's the woman that she's got to sleep with anybody to feel like she exists. If she doesn't have that euphoric emotion, she gets that confused with what love feels like. No, my queen. No. What you're dealing with, you know how they say there's no honor in thieves? Well, what's happening is you are being attacked emotionally. You are being you're being strong-armed physically because you don't know how to say no. Haven't you noticed every time that when you interact with someone and they say something that sparks your interest, that automatically in the back of your mind you may say, I want to sleep with you. No. You got an addiction problem. Some of you women won't even admit to yourself that you know deep down inside you deserve better. If you got to turn around and go through 70 men just to find that one, why couldn't you turn around and invest it in yourself and wait for the right one to come into your life? Because I'm going to tell you what, when the right man comes into your life, what he has to give, 1,000 men can't match. Can't. Because he's going to supply everything you need. Physically, emotionally, financially. Because he's going to value you. But guess what? If you're automatically thinking the cookie is going to be the barter, that's going to be the switch to keep him? No. He's going to walk out of your life. And he's going to probably regret the fact that he gave himself to someone that didn't value themselves. Do not do that to yourself. My kings, there's more to protecting yourself than a condom. It is very important that you emotionally protect yourself. Fortify what is important to you. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. But if your environment only supports that, that's the wrong environment to be in. And guess what? They don't want you to grow. The key to happiness is being not only, number one, you have to be transparent. And that was one thing that I decided to do with my life when I began my spiritual walk. I had to be vulnerable. I had to look at my flaws, and I had to make a conscious decision that I deserved to love myself, even if that meant a life of being alone. I made that choice. But because I know that God loved me so much. Because see, God doesn't compromise. Either you're with Him or you're not. And if you're not with Him, guess what? You're settling. That's why problems will constantly be there. And they will only increase. They can only increase until you do. At the end of the day, you got to go to the Father. You got to go to Him. And when you make that decision, He's going to change your life. Yes, you're going to have to say goodbye to some people. There are going to be some people that you're going to think that they would always be there for you. Even family members. You've got to make a decision to see your worth. You have to. It's your life. Does it matter? Because your life cannot be validated in a stranger's bed. It cannot be validated by being deceptive. All that does is set you up for great pain. You don't deserve that. You don't. Now, I done ran way over my time, but I think somebody needed to hear that. If you're going through some challenges right now, please make the choice. Make this the moment right here that you got to start something new. And I'm going to tell you what. It's right there. This is the playbook. Have the courage to just open it. Open it. Every life experience is in this. Everything. And because we live in a technological age, you don't have a Bible? Get the app. Get the app. And just look at it. And I guarantee you, whatever you're going through right now, it was already written. Just like your destiny. When you took your first breath, your legacy was written. Just as your peaks and valleys, your joys and pain. It just depends on when you decide to get it. My queen, stop settling for Mr. Wrong. He will never give you the satisfaction you need. Only Him will. That guy. And I'm telling you, when you start to invest in your life and have courage to make these choices, the closer He comes. And when you've done the work and He's done the work, you guys will be yoked and go forth. Because I'm going to say this, and I'm going to wrap this up because I'm getting ready to break 60 darn minutes. My queens, your life will only go but so far without a spiritual man in it. So stop looking for Mr. Right, because all you're going to find is Mr. Right now. And he's only there to distract you from Mr. Right. See your worth, love yourself, speak your truth. And by all means, if you're going through something, it's time for you to open that emotional backpack and talk to somebody. Find somebody that has your best interest and do not have an agenda. Talk to a life coach. Talk to some. If you're in church, actively in church, talk to somebody in a church elder. If you talk to somebody, if you're in a relationship, you have a problem, talk to somebody that's been married 30, 40 years. They can tell you what you need, if not guide you to where you need to be. But it cannot start until you decide to be authentic and honest with your heart. God is praying for you. You know I am. I'm tired of watching my queens crying. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of my kings not seeing their purpose. Only you can claim your life. And when you do that, you will see your purpose. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. If you got any questions or concerns, inbox me below, like and subscribe. Have a blessed week. Bye.